Let's go straight to the UN chief, Antonio Guterres, who's currently addressing the world in an address coming in from Istanbul. Let's listen in.
The global food crisis, without ensuring full global access to Ukraine's food products and Russian food and fertilizers. Today, we took important steps to achieve this objective, but it has been a long road. In April, after being received by President Erdogan, I met with President Putin and President Zelensky to propose a plan for solutions. And we have been working every day since. It took immense efforts and commitment by all sides and weeks of around-the-clock negotiations. The commitment and dedication are even more vital today. This initiative must be fully implemented because the world so desperately needs it to tackle the global food crisis. We count on the government of Turkiye to maintain its critical role going forward, and I am here to pledge the full commitment of the United Nations. We will remain closely involved in working for the agreement's success. We are ramping up efforts to ensure the UN is positioned to deliver on its commitments. I am grateful for the work of the two UN task forces that developed a parallel, coherent and coordinated approach. One led by Martin Griffiths and the Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, and including the International Maritime Organization, focused on the shipment of Ukrainian grains through the Black Sea. Today, we are announcing the establishment of a joint coordination centre to monitor implementation of the Black Sea Initiative. The other task force, led by Rebecca Greenspan, Secretary General of UNCTAD, centred on facilitating the unimpeded access to food and fertilizers originating in the Russian Federation to global markets, and it also resulted in an agreement. I urge all sides to spare no efforts to implement their commitments. We must also spare no effort for peace. This is an unprecedented agreement between two parties engaged in bloody conflict, but that conflict continues, and people are dying every day, and fighting is raging every day. The beacon of hope on the Black Sea is shining bright today thanks to the collective efforts of so many. In these trying and turbulent times for the region and our globe, let that beacon guide the way towards easing human suffering and securing peace. Thank you.
Birleşmiş Milletler Genel Sekreterine teşekkür ediyoruz.
Thank you very much, His Excellency, Secretary General. Distinguished guests.
Of course, the UN chief, Antonio Guterres, remarking on the Russia-Ukraine grain deal. Remember earlier, Russia and Ukraine said that they will sign a grain export deal in Istanbul. This is what Turkey claimed. Kiev says that it will, however, not sign an accord directly with Moscow, with both sides instead adopting what they are calling our mirror agreements with Ankara and the United Nations. Now let's listen in to the Turkish President Erdogan.
Distinguished Secretary General, honorable ministers, esteemed members of the delegation, I greet you all with my most heartfelt feelings and respect. Welcome to Istanbul, the meeting point of civilizations and continents. We're together again after the meeting we held on the 29th of March, which constituted an important turning point in the negotiation process. I'm very pleased to welcome you, our esteemed friends, back in Istanbul on another historic day. We are proud to be instrumental in an initiative that will play a major role in solving the global food crisis that has been on the world's agenda for a long time. With the text agreed upon today, from Africa to the Middle East, from America to Asia, we will contribute together to preventing the danger of hunger that billions face from all over the world. Ensuring world security of supply in agricultural and food stuff is important in many aspects. with this step taken, possible additional soaring prices caused by the loss of yield to be caused by current heat waves and drought will be prevented. We are also helping with controlling food inflation, which has become a global problem. Of course, we did not get to this point all of a sudden. We have carried out an intensive and arduous process with the Ukrainian and Russian authorities and the United Nations authorities for the shipment of the grain waiting in Ukrainian silos through the Black Sea. We have been in constant contact with our Ukrainian and Russian counterparts throughout the whole process. We have held extensive consultations to address the expectations and allay the concerns of both countries regarding this sensitive process. The ministers of foreign affairs have made great efforts. The contributions of the Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Guterres, and his team contributed to the plan, the first draft of which was prepared by them, and that's very commendable. I would like to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency President Zelensky and His Excellency President Putin for their leadership. With the vessel traffic that will start in the coming days, we will offer a new airway for breathing from the Black Sea to many countries worldwide. From the exit of the vessels to their safe transfer and arrival at the port of destination, consensus has been reached upon all processes. The execution and supervision of this extremely important plan will be carried out by the Joint Coordination Center to be established in Istanbul. The support of the international community is without doubt of great importance in the successful implementation of the plan. Distinguished friends, about 4 months ago, again in Istanbul, negotiations were held between Ukraine and Russia, and we made progress back then. And this raised hopes that the war would end. Unfortunately, the developments that took place after that meeting fueled the conflicts. We have been saying from the very beginning that there will be no winner in this war, that not only the parties but the whole world will suffer losses. The conflicts that have been going on without interruption for about 5 months and their global effects unfortunately confirm this prediction. As it drags on to silence the guns, we have more economic costs and also more human losses. The war not only adversely affects the parties and the countries in the region, but the whole of humanity, including those in the most remote corner of the world. However, we also believe that this trend is not destined. We want these conflicts, which cost the lives of innocents, to end as soon as possible. We all know that there will be no losers of a just peace. This joint step we're taking today in Istanbul, together with Russia and Ukraine, will be a new turning point that will revive the hopes for peace. This is my sincere hope. Whatever direction the developments on the field would take, the war will finally end at the negotiating table. This friendly and peaceful atmosphere that we have established will be to the benefit of the whole humanity, and this will transform into steps aimed at ending the war. We will continue to act with the awareness of the responsibility our understanding of civilization imposes on us. We will continue to fulfill the requirements of being neighbors until peace prevails in our region. May God help us all. As I end my words with these thoughts, I would like to thank you again. Thank you all for your efforts. I hope that the deal that will be signed today will be instrumental for the good of our countries and all humanity. I also would like to express my gratitude personally and on behalf of my people to everyone who has contributed to the process to come to this day, and I greet you again with this respect. We would like to thank His Excellency President Erdogan for his remarks.
That was, of course, the Turkish President Erdogan addressing the world ahead of this big development in the Russia-Ukraine war. Russia and Ukraine will sign a grain export deal in Istanbul. That is what Turkey had earlier claimed. The Ukrainian authorities say that they will, however, not sign an accord directly with Moscow, with both sides instead adopting mirror agreements with Ankara and the UN. Earlier, we heard the UN chief also hold an address. Speaking on the deal, he thanked the Turkish President Erdogan for the mediation efforts. He also said that this move will bring relief for countries which are currently on edge, especially for those people who are in need. And it will definitely bring a relief, some kind of respite in rising food prices. Remember, the stalling of grain exports at crucial ports due to the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine has led to food prices escalating globally. However, the agreement did not come very easily. Today, they took important steps. It has been a long road indeed. That is what the UN chief said. He said that the delegations have been working every day, meeting with, of course, the stakeholders. That is Russian President Vladimir Putin, the Ukrainian President Zelensky, and the Turkish President Erdogan, who has led these mediation efforts. Later, the Turkish President Erdogan also said that this was indeed a turning point in negotiations. He was hopeful that the war would end, but nonetheless, the whole world would indeed suffer losses since the conflict has been going on for more than 5 months now. Erdogan added that the move needs cooperation and support from the entire global community, and he hopes that the signing of this deal would indeed be a turning point and create an atmosphere that could help in ending this months-long conflict, which will be beneficial for everyone. He also hopes that the signing of this deal will help protect millions of people who are currently at the verge of famine. The world is watching this move as of now. Could this mark an end to months-long grain blockade that has led to rising food prices globally? Remember, Russia and Ukraine are leading producers of wheat and suppliers for the world at large.
Defense and Ministry of Turkiye and Ministry of Development
Let's get you up to date with what's happening. For all our viewers tuning into WION, Russia and Ukraine said earlier that they will sign a grain export deal on Friday. We just heard statements from the Turkish President Erdogan along with the UN Chief Guterres, who have essentially joined forces to lead the mediation efforts to put an end to the massive ordeal that has come about after millions of tons of grains were halted at crucial ports due to the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. However, there are conditions attached. While the grain export deal has been signed, Kiev says that it will not sign an accord directly with Moscow. Both sides are instead adopting something known as a mirror agreement. And these agreements are essentially with Ankara and the United Nations. We just heard remarks from the UN Chief Guterres, who said that this is an important step, but there is a long road ahead. And his hope was that the signing of this deal will indeed bring some sort of respite for all those countries that are currently on edge, the people who are battling rising food prices every day.
The signature ceremony is over.
Turkey seen as a leader in the mediation efforts. President Erdogan said that negotiations were held. He was hopeful that the war would eventually come to an end. Remember, it's been 5 months and there seems to be no end in sight for the war between Russia and Ukraine. Once again, this is, of course, a big news development when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine war. Russia and Ukraine will indeed sign a grain export deal, something that we just saw. The developments took place in Istanbul, in Turkey. The mediation efforts were led by Turkey. In fact, Turkish President Erdogan said that this is a long journey. The conflict has been ongoing for 5 months, but this move is essentially seminal. The UN chief Antonio Guterres said that today we took important step, but it is indeed a long road ahead. The stakeholders have been holding meetings regularly, which includes President Vladimir Putin, Ukraine's President Zelensky, and of course Turkish President Erdogan, who has played a role in trying to get both parties to mediate. There are vested interests, of course. There is a massive food crisis, a global food crisis brewing currently. Ukraine and Russia happen to be massive exporters of wheat to the world, and due to the ongoing war and the continued assault, grain exports have been blocked at crucial ports for months now.